Try to find a flat wall or a door, okay? And you might want to start with your knees a little bit bent. You might want to, if you're pretty flexible, you can straighten them out. But I would say everybody maybe start a little bent so you can get the whole back of your body to the wall. And what you're trying to do here is you're trying to feel both sides of your back have as much contact with the wall as possible, all the way from the sacrum up into the back of the shoulders and the head, okay? Once you feel that contact, and it might not be perfect, and that is totally okay, you just do what you can. This will get better as you go through this. You're gonna go ahead and put your arms out in front of you. You're just gonna steady your breathing for a second here. And just try to feel those contact points as you hold yourself here. Then what we're gonna start to do is we're gonna start to peel one segment off the wall at a time. So we're gonna let the head come off, and then we're gonna start to let the back of the upper back come off. And when it comes off, it's not just coming forward. We're thinking about allowing the skin of our back to sort of glide or get pulled up the wall before it comes off. And each segment is staying on the wall as long as it possibly can. It's coming up, 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 up the wall until it has to come up, off. Think of like a roller coaster, like it's got to come up all the way, and it's like, then one's going to come off, then the other's going to come off, then the other's going to come off, then the other's going to come off. But the rest of them are still going up until the very last minute before they come off, okay? So we're here, we're lifting up, and you might feel you have to kind of steady your breath here. You're going to lift up and then off, up and off. And we're going to try to prevent the lower ones from coming off prior to their turn. So if you feel them starting to want to come off, try to get them back on the wall, get them pulling up. And I eventually have to sort of put my knees back down. If your hip flexors start to kick in, that might be a good thing to put them back down. And you're just checking in here, up and off, up and off, up and off. At some point, usually about here, you'll start to feel your belly kind of pulling a little bit on its own. You're not sucking it in, but it might just start to come in as you're pulling those segments back and up. And you're checking in with both sides, making sure both sides are gliding up together, up and off, up and off. Really pay attention to what's happening down below. Sometimes those lower back ones want to come off prematurely. Keep them back as long as possible. Each little individual inch, half an inch really. Okay, you can feel if you're trying to push off with one side, try to keep that side back on. That's where we're checking in with both sides. All the way down to the sacrum, okay? And once you're here, keep that up energy where all the segments from the sacrum up are pressing up. Then you're going to bring them back onto the wall one by one. So each individual segment is going to come back to the wall, but it's going to drag up the wall at the same time. Both sides equally, checking in on that. Here they go, okay? And you might feel you want to rush the top. Again, each one. Don't miss any. Keep the lower ones on as the upper ones start to come to the wall, but also lifting up the whole time. Lift up, lift up. And as you get to the upper segments here, keep the lower ones on. Don't rush the head. Okay, just keep that upper back coming onto the wall and up the wall one by one, and delay that head coming back. Now once you're here, Might just want to hang here with those arms overhead. You might feel those muscles between your shoulder blades really kicking on. That's a great feeling. Take some good slow breaths in here. Okay, and then you would go back. We're gonna do it 2 more times, okay? If you feel like your arms are starting to get tired, like you're holding too much tension here, you can just kind of glide them on your knees, but really having to think, and maybe just fingertips here, having to think of that same coming up action as you come through. You might start to shake a little bit. I certainly do. This is very hard to keep that up energy in the spine sometimes. And that's really what I'm focusing on. More than the coming off the wall, I'm thinking of that up before they start to come off the wall. Checking in with those shoulders. All right. And then peeling each segment back onto the wall. Releasing any fighting tension you might feel in your pelvic floor, in your abdominal wall, in your face, jaw, neck, shoulders. And the more you can calm your body here and calm your breath, the easier this is going to become. So you can have arms up for this part. Sometimes I'll pull them back here. I get a nice opening in the front of the chest as I'm still thinking up. Okay, and you might start to feel the bottom of your hips really gluing and grounding down into the ground to help you create that up force. Okay, and then one more time. Up and forward, up and forward, up and forward. Good. And then start to glue each individual segment. And you can see my first couple were a lot slower because I was struggling. So take your time with this. Okay, really take your time with it. And then as things start to loosen up and you start to feel more of that connection, you should be able to go a little bit faster. We don't want to like speed do this. It's always going to be a slow thing, but you might feel more success getting each individual one without having to, spend so much time on it. And I would just steady your breath here for a couple more seconds. Good. All right, cool. And the last thing I do is just to get myself back ready to do the rest of my day. All right, so what I like to do is sort of like a bottom-up hinge here. Now, if you have the capacity to get low like this, do that. If you don't, you can just sort of maybe get back into that same position we were in before, where your hips are reaching back and your hands are reaching forward. And this time you're going to lift your heels up off the floor. Okay, and from there, you're going to keep your weight not back, but into your toes. And you're going to go ahead and just walk your hands back underneath you like this. So now you're fully in your feet and your hips are pushing back. And from there, you're going to allow your hips to start pushing up towards the ceiling without your knees coming back. So really keep those knees forward, keep your head forward, and press with your feet to bring your hips up and spread wide. You're going to take some breaths there. So I'm really reaching forward, reaching back, but now I'm in a standing position. And you should feel this really great opening happening in the back of both hips. Okay, if you don't, you may be too far back. Okay, you might have to just kind of like, you should feel like you're almost going to fall on your face, but your hips are going so far back that you're not going to. Okay, so take a few breaths there. I might do that 2 more times. And woo, that should get you feeling like you're ready for the day, for the rest of the day.